South African Defence Force to intensify patrols along South Africa Zimbabwe border.
We're reporting from the dried up bed of the Limpopo River that separates South Africa and Zimbabwe, and along the riverbed itself, the South African National Defence Force mentions that there are several areas that they deem as hotspots, looking at issues such as illegal smuggling and people really jumping the border illegally into South Africa. But the South African National Defence Force also mentions that with the festive season fast approaching, there are plans in place to try and cap the illegal smuggling actions that are normally detected between South Africa and Zimbabwe on this particular border, on the Limpopo River in particular, especially when it is dry like currently as it is. Let me bring in the major from the SANDF, that is Major Shilongoma Mahlahlane. Thank you very much for your time on SABC News. Kindly talk to us about areas that you deem as hotspots as the SANDF, and what operations are in place to cap that particular those particular crimes rather as they happen.
Thank you very much for awarding me this opportunity. There are a lot of hotspots. There are spots where the vehicles are crossing. There are spots where the cigarette is crossing. As it was mentioned during the briefing, there are gomas that actually are carriers of the cigarette. We do have plans, more especially now, because we know there's going to be more influx. As much as we anticipate that members will be crossing over to Zimbabwe, there will be more crossing to South Africa. So we had plans. Unfortunately, I cannot divulge that information because currently it's secret until we implement it on the ground. I believe by end of the festive season, we'll be able to can tell because of the statistics would have raised up.
And do we know just how the gomas or these illegal smugglers conduct their operations? Because you are present, we've seen you conducting operations along the border. Do they have a way of evading the SANDF?
Yes, remember these people, they are having scouts. They are having scouts which they give them information as they detect our movements. They check on our patrols, and as much as they can see, we are changing the direction and they use the other direction. For instance, if we patrol to the west, they will make sure that they cross to the east. By the time you detect that movement, it is very late. But we know the hotspots. We are coming with the plans that we know at the end of the day, it will make us a successful company and the battalion that is deployed in Musina operational area.
In cases where you do apprehend some of the illegal border jumpers, if I may call them that, or smugglers, what then do you do following the apprehension?
Mostly we do have military police that at most times when we apprehend, we call them to come into action. They are the ones that will take, if it's undocumented persons, they will be taken to immigration for deportation, and then if it's illegal cigarette, they will do the same, and then SAS is assisting us in that regard.
And we see that currently the Limpopo River in itself that separates the two countries is dried out. What are the trends in terms of the illegal movement? Do they normally wait for the riverbed to dry, for the river to dry, exposing the riverbed, or does it happen across throughout, even if when the river is full and flowing?
When it is full, there are certain spots that are being used. But when it's dry, there is a lot of spots that are being utilized. So by then we will be able to cap the problem as much as we know the levels of the rivers are high. But currently, as it is dry, you can't detect the spots.
Thank you very much. That's Major Shilongoma Mahlahlane. Thank you very much for your time on the SABC News channel. We are literally in the middle of the Limpopo River in itself, separating the two countries. Behind me, we were able to spot some group of Zimbabwean nationals that are standing over the banks, or the edge of the river. We are told by SANDF during this operation that they are conducting that some of them wait for trucks that are transporting counterfeit goods, illicit goods that are destined to be smuggled into the country. SABC News, Malala Drift.